YouTube, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to a little bit Isaac, just a little bit Isaac, little Isaac run. After to birth plus, I felt like doing one. I felt like doing a little Isaac today. Sometimes that happens. Of course, the run we were 10 minutes in when I had to re-record the first 10 minutes of my last video. Look, I felt like doing a little bit of talking. I said when I stopped Isaac, maybe every now and then I'll have a little topic, little topic to talk about a little bit. And I guess today was one of those days. I was just kind of sat around, and I thought I could do a little bit of talking. And by a little bit, I apparently mean a little bit because we got this stupid worm thing. It's not been that long. Come on, you know this thing's name. What's it? What the fuck is this? The one you can only get hit one time. Where is he? We got the loss today, so probably going to be a short one. Anyone done it yet? It's just because it's early. They'll do it later. They'll do it later. Ooh, a friend. Oof, oof, oof. Well, that's not bad. Go Nathan. Congrats, Nathan. I don't really remember who that is. I vaguely remember who that is. I think I follow him on Twitter. I think we follow each other on Twitter. Let's do the daily run today. Pressure's on, dude. I have friends playing this game. And I wanted to talk a little bit about FOMO. Because I think it's an interesting topic, and it's something that I think I would say it's a very I think it's a pretty common thing, more so than ever. I say it's something that most people have experienced in some capacity. A lot of people, may suggest that they get it less than others. There'll be people out there who get it a little bit less than others. They get it a little bit less than others. But I think pretty much everyone has got it in some capacity. Some people more, some people less. And I envy you if you're on the lesser side of the scale. But it's something I'm thinking a lot about recently because it's funny, it's interesting to me. I'll talk about, I guess, why it's come up recently in particular in a moment. But it's interesting to me, and this is why I thought it'd be interesting to talk about this, just because I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on FOMO, and if other people deal with it a lot or a little bit, and if you are dealing with it, what sort of how do you get past it or whatever. I'd just love to hear other people's experiences. Oh, I like these things, little wide curvy shots. Also, I should say I can't record on Wednesdays usually, and it's Wednesday today. So if this video is coming out on Thursday, or if this video is coming out not on Wednesday, it means that I was not able. I have no idea how long I have right now. I could have only like 5 minutes, in which case this will also be like 2 runs stitched together. But I'll just talk and then hope that I don't lose all of my flow if I have to switch it up. This guy sucks and I hate everything about him, and we may just start a new run anyway here. It's not really about the dailies anymore. It was about the dailies when it was, because it was the score for binding Mandem. But now that I'm just chatting, if we have to switch to a regular run, I wanna do my share of the talking, Yeah, I'd be interested to hear, other people's thoughts on FOMO, etc. And experiences and everything like that. And wanted to kind of share the positive light that I've come and kind of. As someone who's been trying to work through that a little bit recently, I wanted to kind of maybe share some of the conclusions I've come to that could maybe provide some solace if you're watching this and you also go through it yourself. But I think it's been an issue for me, I would suggest, because it's something that, as far as I know, doesn't really serve any sort of evolutionary purpose or utility. There are some things where people will be like, hey, people think that maybe it's because of this. But there's nothing really that kind of is like, oh yeah, we experience FOMO for this reason. This is the reason why human beings, this is the benefit of it and the reason why we get it. As far as I could tell from the relatively limited reading I've done, and by relatively limited, I mean literally online magazines and blog posts and shit. I haven't read any actual studies on it yet because I'm still in that cool down period of it's still too soon after graduating that I'm not ready to read anymore. I'm not ready for that yet. I need at least a full year from graduation before I think I can read another peer-reviewed academic article of any capacity. That said, I've not yet been able to kind of figure out why it's actually a thing. However, why I think it's a thing, it is very prevalent in people who have in the past or still do suffer from any sort of anxiety or depression. And the reason why I think that it's become such a thing for me in kind of recent times is because it was never really an issue for me previously, I would suggest. 2 years ago and beyond that. I don't know why I even really took that. What have you got for us? Oh, I'll take the pact though, and I will take this just because there's no reason not to. And I think it's never really an issue previously. I guess for context, for anyone who doesn't know, I had quite a lot of therapy a little over 2 years ago. And obviously worked through a lot of things because of that, and got over a lot of things because of that, and I'm very much a different person because of that, and it's very helpful, and it's still something, there's stuff that you work on constantly. I guess the same could be said for everyone. There's stuff that you're always working on, and very much the same is true for myself. There's still a lot to work on, but you can stay the frick away from me. That helped a lot with a lot of different things, for sure. However, I think that FOMO was not necessarily one of those things. It wasn't necessarily something I was going through a lot of the time because, you get a situation. For example, like you get a party. You get invited to a party, and then I would not go to the party because of, anxiety purposes or depression purposes or whatever the case may be. But then I wouldn't get FOMO over not being at that party because I was too, wrapped up in what essentially was the reason I wasn't even at the party in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, if I didn't go because of anxiety, I wouldn't be, on the night of the party, having FOMO over the fact that I didn't go. Because I would be, emotionally too consumed in the anxiety itself that stopped me from going in the first place, if that makes sense. So there was no FOMO to have because it wasn't like I wanted to be there because of how I was emotionally. I didn't want to, that was how it was, right? So I think that in that sense, this is why it's become much more of a prevalent thing now, is other things being eliminated has given the FOMO a chance to step into the spotlight, I guess. I wasn't a social person because of anxiety and other things, so missing out on social events and interactions and situations, etc., wasn't a cause of FOMO because I didn't feel like I was missing out because I didn't necessarily want to partake, if that makes sense, right? So going through therapy and working through a lot of that stuff, as a result, or inadvertently, I guess you could say, I guess it was deliberate. There's a nice little bomb there. Becoming a much more social creature, which is something that I absolutely am. If you know me well, you know that if I'm comfortable in a social situation, I talk a lot. I I just say lots of words all the time. I'm a very talkative individual. Never used to be. That's a thing that's happened over the past year or two, and in part thanks to therapy, and in part thanks to just having wonderful friends who I appreciate very much. We've made the world of difference on that front as well. But now that I am a much more social creature, and I'm less caught up in the negatives and less caught up in my mind on certain things like that, or at least in that capacity, there's more room for FOMO, right? Because if I get invited to a party, I want to go to the party. So if I can't go to the party, then I'm like, oh shit, there's a party going on and I'm missing out on it. You know what I mean? Just as an example. So I feel like that's why, in terms of recency, in terms of recent history, in terms of the context of long term, my life, I think that's why it's been more of a thing recently. Is other things have been. It's a bit of a scale. Other things that might have previously stopped FOMO from being able to be present are now themselves no longer present, which has just opened the door for frick this for FOMO to be more of a thing, right? But the reason why it came to a head recently. I might just dial on this fight for a second because I'm not feeling overly comfortable right now. It's not overly. It's not. It's nothing insanely difficult. I'm just not comfy right now. I'd like to be comfy in these high intensity situations. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We're fine. Absolutely fine. Can't remember what this does. And we're gonna keep moving here. Yeah, but the reason why I got to thinking about this recently, in terms of like I say, recently in recent history a second ago, but now the reason why I got to thinking about this recently in terms of like the past couple of days or the past few days, and it, it's something I think about a lot because, as I said, it's probably like something that something that I'm trying to get better with and work through and stuff, and just have less of a thing because it sucks. And like as I said, I think like most people have gone through it at some point. Everyone hates it. It's like the worst thing. Well, not the okay. It's far from the worst thing emotionally that you can go through, but it sucks though, right? For sure. Eat. I actually quite like Book of the Dead, I rarely take it because it's rarely worth like in like a regular run, but it's not bad. Why is my phone vibrating? Oh yeah, sorry, another one of those classic alarms that I set when I thought that I was gonna get a normal night's sleep, but instead I didn't. AKA basically every day at this point. But that's fine. You know what? Who needs 6 hours when you can have 3? What was I saying? Oh yeah, so it came up prevalently in the past couple of days, few days, and why I came to be like reading about it this morning. When I woke up way earlier than I wanted to and couldn't get back to sleep. I ended up reading about this. Hey, could this break? I know, like, spectral tears, but, like, please break. Yeah, just 'cause I don't know what the other thing does. So I'm in a group chat with a few good friends who I love them all very much. They're all super important to me, but because of a personal situation. Okay, I thought that was a spacebar in for a second. Because of a personal situation. Why did I use that at the start of the room? Because of a personal situation that I'm not going to go into here. I essentially kind of like took a step back from it all. So there's this group chat, which is probably the one that I'm most actively involved in of the group chats I'm involved in. It's definitely the one that I talk the most in of the group chats I'm involved in. And then probably up there in terms of just how active the group itself is. But definitely the one I talk the most in. Okay, just going to dial a little bit here. Are you friendly? No, why would you be friendly? What a bizarre question. Why would he ask that? But yeah, I essentially took a step back from that group chat for a couple of days, which was... I already have gone back to it because I reassessed that situation and realised that was... that whole approach made absolutely no sense at all. So that in the end didn't even matter. It was like 2 days, and then I realised it didn't really make sense. But I essentially had that group chat muted for a couple of days. It was like probably like a little over 2 days, and this is the context. The reason I'm giving this context is because everybody just needs to relax a little bit. Look at all these bones, dude. Actually, this is a great item for the loss. I hadn't even thought about it. Look at all this bone protection. Oh, in this house, we love the bones. Go Bones, love the bones. Used to love the TV show as well, Bones. You guys ever seen that one? I used to watch a lot of murder shows with my mum. We used to watch, CSI, NCIS, Bones, etc., etc. Tons of them. That was like the thing that me and my mum used to watch all the time. And then I moved out, and then it moved on to she just watches like ghost shows now, ghost investigation shows. That's what my sister got stuck with. And of the two, look, I like Ghost Adventures a little bit. I don't take it too seriously. My mum absolutely does take every second of that show as seriously as you could imagine. I don't mind a little bit of Zach Baggins, a little bit of Ghost Adventures. Some of the every now and then, I would say. Beyond that, it gets a little snoozer a little quick when she goes into the many different shows she watches. So of the two phases, me getting stuck with the all the murder shows, and my sister getting stuck with the you'll take Bookworm, by the way. the ghost exploration shows. I'm definitely glad I got the murder shows. Let me put it that way. Bones, though, probably one of the best in my opinion. That was a great one. Probably one of the best. It also helped that as a teenager I had a slight crush on Emily Deschanel, slightly less famous sister of Zooey Deschanel. Yeah, sure, why not? I'll take the speed. Only a slight one though, as I'm now learning, since apparently real ones are very difficult to get over. Anyway, listen. Sorry, personal situation I said I wasn't going to go into in this video. What happened? Look, anyway, why I'm getting into this is because, so that's a group chat, right? 2 days, I had it muted, and it was some of the worst FOMO I've ever experienced in my entire life. And now that probably sounds dramatic, right? Oh, it's just a group chat. And it was only 2 days. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I feel like it would be remiss on my part to say, oh, it's just a group chat, considering how important those people are to me and my interactions with them. And you know, reaching a point where they're basically the people I interacted with probably more than anyone else for the most part at this point. Like, I don't really have many people I talk to on the daily anymore. I talk to them a lot on the daily, and they're very much like a positive a positive constant in my life, or a constant positive constant. And I think inadvertently, because of that, I've become like a very important stabilizer for my mental health. Just a positive, just having that positive thing. They're just super important to me, right? So that's why it kind of hit a little bit harder not having that for a couple of days. But yeah, a simple 2 days or so of not having that, as I said, some of the worst FOMO I've experienced in my life, which is already like a bit random, because you kind of look at it and you're like, it doesn't even make that much sense, right? Because it's not like you know that you're missing anything. It's like Schrodinger's chat. If you're invited to a party and you can't go because you're ill or whatever, you know, on the night of the party, you're like, hey, this sucks because the party's going on tonight and everyone's having a great time and I'm not there. There's no notifications. So in my head, as far as I know, the group chat could be entirely silent. Now there's 6 of us in there, so you know, minus myself, that's for anyone who's, you know, math wasn't their strong point, don't worry, me neither. That would leave 5. So obviously it wasn't going to be silent, and it wasn't. I'm now caught up. There were conversations are plentiful, and definitely some that reading back I was disappointed that I missed, for sure. But no, I'm you know, I'm all caught up. It's all good. But because of the lack of, you know, any sort of knowledge of what was going on there, in theory I could just be like, in my head I saw the black shadow and then just walked into it. Like, I could easily believe that there just isn't anything. You know, I don't know what I'm missing, you know what I mean? I could easily believe that there's nothing going on. It's not like I knew that stuff was going on and knew that I was missing it, and yet still the FOMO was there, right? And that was very much something that was on my mind quite heavily the past couple of days. So that's the context of why I ended up reading about it. That plus not being able to sleep, so looking for... I'll just fight Mom forehead. I like Book of the Dead, dude. What happened to my Emperor card? Ah, shit, dude. Did I put it down and forget to pick it up? I'm not gonna lie, I would have... I kind of like the idea of having that for Boss Rush right now. I had not realised I was no longer carrying the Emperor card. I had no idea. RIP. Okay, well, oh well. Life goes on. Yeah, that's why I got to it, just because of a recent situation, basically. But that sort of 2 days of being like, I miss my friends, I miss my friends, I miss my friends. And again, even more stupid, because I'm pretty sure I interacted with all of them at least once anyway in that 2-day period via various other messaging platforms, like individually. And in like fragments of the group, just not as a whole, which is part of why it was stupid anyway. But either way, okay, pay attention to this room. So there's 4 of these fuckers. There's 4 of these fuckers. Okay. What was I saying? Oh fuck! I lost my train of thought. Ah, shit, dude. Ah, frick. Ah, he's fricked it all. Oh, I have no idea what I was talking about. The hell was I talking about? Something about FOMO? Something, FOMO. I have no idea what I was talking about. Ghost Adventures, murder TV shows, Emily Dixon. What was I talking about? Was I talking about FOMO? I was talking about FOMO, right? But why? What did I say? What was I saying? How did I get to? Why was I talking about? What was I talking about? Am I okay? What's going on? What was I? Oh god, do I need to stop the recording? I hate when this happens. I've heard it happen. I've had this happen in videos before, in Isaac episodes, and then been annoyed at myself, like I can't remember what I was talking about, and then run back the tape to try and, oh, sure, I mean, okay, makes Bookworm a little bit irrelevant now, but sure. Or does it not? Do you get maybe 3 sometimes? You do! Oh, it doubles the double! Oh, never mind, dude. Bookworm's dope. With 2020. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, and then I've, like, listened back and then been, like, annoyed at myself, because then I hear what I was talking about and was like, ah, shit, I do still have things to say about that topic. Something... I honestly don't remember anything I was saying. Oh, I was talking about the group chat, yeah? And then I wasn't in it, and then I came back in it, and then, okay. You have a sick run, dude. You have a sick run right now. You have a sick run. You have a sick run. Okay. You got a sick run. No need to stress it. Why stress it when you've got a sick run? Okay, please have just garbage. Okay. That's fine, actually, then. I honestly don't remember what I was saying. And then, anyway, look, I got back in. I caught up. It's all good. I wish I remember what I was saying. But that was what led me. Ah, yeah, okay. Right, I think I'm roughly on the right tracks here. That was what led me to, looking into it a little bit, is because it's been very very strong over the last couple days. I hate it's like you know, losing it, you know, needing to sneeze and then it just doesn't quite come out, or like it's just I hate it. Like, where's my what was I talking about, man? It was like mid sentence. I just forgot what I was saying. My friends pop out. But anyway, so what I discovered, what I think was, and that, you know, people will be like, ah, just like distract yourself, forehead, just do something else. But then I think I think a lot of it, and this came up a couple times. What the fuck? I teleported. This came up a couple times. I was at Curse of the Teleporty Rooms. In various articles I was reading, they were like, hey, it's a self-esteem thing, which makes sense. You know, I've talked about this before. For as much therapy as I did have, roughly double the amount of CBT that CBT usually lasts. It's usually like a 3-month thing, and it went for nearly 7 for me. So as much as I did have, and as much as we did work through, and as much as I'm grateful that we went through everything that we did, definitely some things I never quite got around to. Self-esteem not being great was worked on to a degree and is much better than it used to be, for sure. However, definitely still could be worked on. You know, I like to be kind of open and stuff in videos and whatnot, to a degree. Although that degree can go pretty far if you've listened to my Isaac videos ever, or if you watched any of my personality, either of my personality test videos. It is no secret I do not think very highly of myself. So that makes sense, to where it was like, hey, it's very much rooted in low self-esteem a lot of the time, which, knowing that, I think is good. That's good intel. That's good ease, because what that sort of made me realize, a lot of these articles saying that it's kind of rooted in low self-esteem, kind of made me realize, okay, if it's a value thing, you kind of have to, you can put like long-term perspective on it. In the moment, okay, distract yourself. Could be good. You know, get a, I was just gonna say get a hobby. That sounds like people say that as an insult. I don't mean it to sound like an insult. Wow, you getting FOMO because your friends are all having fun without you? Get a hobby, dude. Get a hobby, loser. That wasn't how I meant it. But you know, hey, like, what do you enjoy doing that's gonna like put you in like a flow state, right? You know that kind of situation. You know that kind of when you're enjoying something so much that time just shoots by. And you know, it's unfortunate that for me, probably like the best of that is playing games with my friends, and that's been But you know, okay, so you go. What makes you happy? Oh, I know. Come on, you can think of an example, right? Watching football. Okay, not a great example right now because Spurs have not made me happy for about 2 months, and I hate them. I hate them. However, I know when I'm watching football, and again, it's not the greatest example either because it's not like you can just do that forehead. Like they've got to be playing for you to be able to watch them, right? So they're playing in 4.5 hours. So in 4.5 hours, my mind's going to be occupied for a while. But you know, if it's like, hey, it's like 2 a.m. on Tuesday, and I have FOMO, you can't just put Spurs on. You know what I mean? But in terms of like, you know, finding stuff that I know when I'm watching the football, I'm just watching the football and nothing else in the world is even going on. For better or worse, again, distraction is good. Definitely sometimes it's for worse because then I you know, miss everything that's going on in the world during Spurs games. You know, any sort of notification of which are already rare because my phone is very broken. Any sort of messages, any sort of like anything that's going on, I'm basically like from an hour before kickoff to an hour after kickoff. That sort of like 4.5 hour period. I basically don't exist to the world outside of being like a vessel to watch the game. But as I said, in the moment, you find something or you do something that puts you in that state where you're like fully distracted, and then time just, you don't even like know what's going on. You don't have time to be in FOMO because you're distracted, right? And again, very very forehead thing to say. It's similar to when people are like, hey, if you're like anxious, just relax because you can't be anxious and relax at the same time. Yeah, just relax, forehead. However, you know, mindfulness, breathing techniques, yoga, meditation, etc., etc. Just like relaxing your muscles, you know, physical relaxation, all that stuff. In the moment, can all be very beneficial for sure. Don't know if that's the strat for FOMO, but try it. You know, if it's more rooted in anxiety, then you know, maybe that will do something for you. I hate these stupid things. Oh man, I looked at them and didn't want to take them, and then just took them. Brilliant. Thankfully, we have a lot of tiers, so hopefully it won't matter too much or affect it too much. Yeah, we still feel okay. So those are good, you know, and amongst other things, great in the moment strategies if there's something you can work on. But there's something that I kind of came to. I like kind of putting long-term perspective on things. Okay. I think a lot of you know, working through these sorts of things. I don't know how you'd want to describe them as, like, you know, weaknesses or just things that you want to work on. A lot of it is about perspective, long-term perspective. I don't think it's always or particularly often about the finding a quick fix. I don't think quick fixes. I don't think there's anything wrong with quick fixes in the moment. Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So we're guppy now as well. Really wish I didn't take the skipping stone, but that's fine. So this is a sick run. Nothing wrong with quick fixes in the situation. If you're feeling down and you're like, hey, eating some chocolate right now is going to make me feel better. Okay, maybe you're on a diet and it's going to fuck with your numbers. But to be honest, I don't know, have some chocolate. It's going to make you feel better, and then you're going to go to bed happy, and you're probably going to wake up happy the next day. It's not going to fix any problems in the long term. Sure, one chocolate bar, but like it's probably going to help in the moment, which is fine, which is good. That's a good thing. Why not do something that's going to... Okay, I thought this was an empty room. That's going to bring you some happiness and make yourself feel a little bit better, even if it is only, like, short term, right? A positive... Progress is progress. You know, moving the needle is moving the needle. But I like to put like long-term perspective on it, and I think as far as FOMO goes, as far as especially for myself, you know, as far as reading more than one article saying, hey, it's a self-esteem thing, and knowing myself that that's definitely something I have an issue with, and you know, is a thing for me. That was like, okay, maybe this is something to focus on. And again, going a bit fake therapy mode here, wannabe therapist mode. Recognizing that as a prevalent issue for myself, I kind of figured that would be a good thing to focus on. You don't want to focus on too much at once, because you're going to overwhelm yourself, and nothing's going to, you know, nothing's going to hit the same. Nothing's going to hit the same. You don't have a chance to really put the energy required into fixing what are quite big things about yourself, because you know, you try to do too much at once, right? So you want to try and focus on the one thing, and try and work through that, and try and, you know, improve yourself one step at a time. So as far as that goes, I'm like, okay, that seems like that would be a good thing for me to focus on. Would be Mega Guppy. It literally does nothing, but you know, I'll touch it anyway. Why not? That'll be a good thing for me to focus on. I think in terms of, okay, if that's going to be my focus, then right, what do I do with that info? What perspective do I put on that? And I think in that sense, I think this is the conclusion I sort of came to, and maybe, you know, other people could do the same thing. Maybe this will help them. I don't know. But for me, I was like, okay, maybe I just need to put more value on myself. And just for the record, this is a general thing. When I say this is a royal thing, like in life. Because I know I gave the context of the group chat in terms of leading into this, and I know that there could be people in said group chat watching this. I'm not saying, like, when I say putting value on myself, I mean royally speaking, like to myself, because I'm not. This is nothing to do with you guys in particular, because you guys in particular, I know. Sorry, there's a delivery van outside. I was just making sure it wasn't for us. It's fine. I know. You know, for whatever reason, care about me and think highly of me, and etc. etc. And it absolutely means the world to me. And in fact, most of, you know, like I want to, like yeah, it means a lot. So I'm not saying that about you guys. Like that feeling of, and especially recently, I've been I went through a bit of a period over winter and so January and stuff. Of probably being like the most like uninspired, like unmotivated I'd potentially ever been in my entire life, and that feeling of for maybe the first time ever of with you guys that you guys give me, of feeling like there's actually people out there who believe in me, I guess would be one way to put it, was a lot in getting me through that, and it's honestly like the greatest feeling in the world, and still something I'm not really used to. So this isn't just, I just wanted to mention that because I know I use the group chat as context for the discussion, so that's not what I mean when I say about putting more value in myself. Isn't to imply that it was just independent points. I just want to make that clear, so when wires were not crossed. No idea what this even does. Deny his gifts to attain your award. Oops. Took them devil deals all day long, baby. Yo, this was a lamb lost run, and it was only half an hour, and like I won it. That's not what I expected when I thought it was going to be a short one today. Okay, sure, why not? I just want to say, since I've stopped doing Mandem Strong? Well, yeah, but that was for personal reasons, because I'm trying to do an epic for the win before and after pick. so I'm trying to not let anyone see my progress. Was why I stopped Mandem Strong. That was different. Mandem, Binding of Mandem. Ever since I stopped Binding of Mandem, I've done 3 daily runs and I've won all 3. Like, I'm just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. Look, let me wrap my point up. So what I was saying was, in terms of putting value on yourself, okay, don't see it as you not being there is a negative thing. Don't see it as what you're missing out on. See it as, okay, what else could you be doing right now that was still gonna provide a positive moment in your life? You could be doing something that's gonna give you happiness. Like, just because you're missing out on one thing doesn't mean you couldn't be doing something else that is also going to give you happiness. And in the same way, as far as it being an individual goes, just because you aren't present in that situation, don't think of it as like, I have no idea what's going on, by the way. Streamlabs and Isaac are both not responding, so I'm just going to keep talking and hope for the best. Just because kind of you're not present in the situation doesn't mean that that you can't. Okay, you're present elsewhere, right? Like, okay, there was one article that I really like the way it phrased it, so I'm just gonna like steal that because I need to finish what I was talking about. Oh, my fucking note. I hate these notifications. Fuck, dude. Why are they so fucked? Why do they not work? Let's have a look. A little bit to explain the sign paper, but more time becoming your right. This was a really good point. Mindfulness, that wasn't it. I talked about relax. Okay, familiar with your thoughts. Yeah, would have liked to have talked about that, but I've run out of time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, build your ideal self. Okay, yeah, no, sure, I agree, but that's not fit. Okay, Miss Lisa Cordin. Why do I? Oh no, dude. I'm trying to. Overcommitting, not committing, feeling bad, engaging in the comparison game, checking your phone every 3 minutes. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, I get it. I get all these. It said that with history of anxiety, a risk of suffering FOMO, perspective, self-esteem. Okay, check this out. I'm stealing this from i/d.vice.com. Low self-esteem is the most significant contributor. Think about it this way: only someone who doesn't recognize their own value would feel they have to be connected geographically to others all the time. Those of us with healthier self-esteem have the ability to connect in a meaningful way. Meaningful connection is felt as much in physical absence as it is in presence. Healthy self-esteem helps us to understand that out of sight doesn't mean we disappear or lose value. We are simply present elsewhere. And then I think that was something that kind of, in terms of long-term perspective. This has been so all over the place, and I apologize. I don't know if I've said anything coherent in this entire video. So sorry. I think that's a good one. I think for me personally, in terms of long-term perspective and trying to put that long-term perspective on it, I think I should not try and, like, it doesn't matter if I'm not there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I always have to be present in these situations. If I'm talking about social situations, I don't have to always be there. And you know, if I can, I obviously want to. If the possibility is there, obviously I want to. But maybe sometimes I don't need to impose that. I don't need to try and, like, I don't need to try so hard to be there all the time. I don't need to, read every message the moment it comes in, or try and, reply to every message. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to do that just for the sake of being like, I've got to, I need to be involved. Because sometimes you get to that point where you're like, or at least in myself, I feel like I do, and sometimes you're saying stuff. I'm saying stuff just for the sake of saying stuff when I don't necessarily have anything meaningful to contribute. And most of the time that means I'm making a joke, but I'll just like crack a joke, and then it doesn't land because most of them don't. Unfortunately, I think I like to try and be funny. I don't think I'm okay. I don't know. I think my type of personality, I just Similar to NL. If anyone watches NL, he makes a lot of jokes. Sometimes they don't land, and every time they don't land, for me watching him, I'm like, it's fine because well, it's not like I actively think this, but if I did think about it, I'd be like, hey, it's fine because he just makes so many jokes. Sometimes they're not gonna land. I think I have a similar sort of personality. I think I just crack a lot of jokes. Like constantly, and sometimes they don't land, but I make that many that plenty of them do and plenty of them don't, and I think it's fine either way, right? But you know, in a casual situation, sometimes that's fine, but sometimes when there's a conversation going on and you don't have much to contribute, so you're like, haha, here's a funny line. Like, you know, it becomes a bit much sometimes. So I think I'm kind of just taking almost actually, even to some degrees, it's taking some value off myself and being like, hey, not everyone even like wants to hear what I have to say all the time, you know what I mean? Okay, sometimes maybe I've got something to contribute, but sometimes it's like, hey Reese, shut up a bit, please. no one wants to hear, you know. Let me just be quiet a little bit sometimes. So I guess that's part of it. I guess it's finding that mix. You know, I was just talking about putting like more value on myself as an individual, as like a person, and not just being like existing to exist for other people, but like that's not. I don't like the way they phrase that because I think that could be taken away. That isn't how I mean it to be taken. It's the problem with not like thinking about this stuff and just being like, hey, I want to talk about this topic, so I'm just gonna hit record and see where we go. But yeah, look, I'm kind of working through it. I'm figuring it out, and I think I'm gonna. I don't know, man. I can't switch off from everything. I'm a very online individual, as Chib would say, as Chibley would say, extremely online, unfortunately. Unfortunately, because as I said, some of the most important people in my, well, especially obviously lockdown, everyone's online now, but some of the most important people in my lives, who you know, really important to me, and you know, that I would kind of drop everything for, are pretty much exclusively online, right? So you know, it's not to say that I want to be online less, although I did apply for the army to be deployed, and if that does happen, I will be entirely offline for like 8 months at a time. But anyway, we'll worry about that when I get the response. But yeah, it's if this kind of deranged, chaotic, very loose collection of thoughts has brought you to any conclusion, if you take anything away from this video, it's that I clearly am still working on it. It clearly is still a work in progress. But I think that it's interesting, and it kind of gave a little bit insight as far as like, okay, I've worked through things in the past, maybe this is just the current thing I need to work through, and I think it's good to know that I have got through things in the past so I can get through this as well. But it gives a little bit of insight into being like, okay, if there's something you got to work through, pinpoint why it is these feelings come across, and that's always a thing in therapy. If you've got a problem, you first off, why do you think you have this problem? Why do you think this way? As far as getting to know the way your brain works, getting to know the way your thoughts work, gives you that opportunity to recognize those thoughts. And it's the same could be said for FOMO. If you know why you experience FOMO, you can see the FOMO coming earlier. You can see like, okay, I'm starting to get thoughts that I think may lead to me thinking this way, which may lead to me acting this way, which is just going to like double up the FOMO, right? Like, oh, stuff's going on and I'm not involved, so now I'm gonna like think about how I'm sad because I'm not involved, so now I'm gonna like try and slightly involve myself, so now I'm gonna like try and force myself, you know what I mean? Like, and then it just becomes a nightmare for everyone. So that just as an example, you try and recognize those thoughts earlier so that you can pivot earlier, and then you don't get to the point of distress necessarily. But as far as a learning point for me, I guess self-esteem, and maybe you just, you know, maybe you don't pull the weed, maybe you want to try and evaporate them from the root. Maybe I just go straight for self-esteem and try and like think a little bit more highly of myself. Ha ha ha, good one. I don't see that happening. But I don't know, man. Just some thoughts. Just some thoughts. Anyway, listen, I'm going to wrap this up because I am hungry and I'm absolutely craving some freaking super noodles right now. So I'm going to go boil the hell out of some freaking super noodles right this second. So, appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. And if you have listened the whole way through, I feel I've been saying this a lot recently, but especially on these kind of weird pseudo-therapy, ranty, whatever videos where I just feel like talking. I just thought it was an I think phone was an interesting topic, and for if anything, I just kind of wouldn't mind putting this out there just to hear if anyone else has any experience with it and what they think of it and how they get through it, etc., etc. But listen, all I can say is I appreciate you all, and you're all wonderful human beings, and if anyone ever needs gassing up, then just DM me. I've been DMing a lot of I've been talking to a lot of people from Yetiness recently. I've got a few DMs recently from people who watch Yetiness, and I've just been talking to some viewers and stuff, and it's been really it's been interesting. But yes, so feel free to message me, and I'll try and reply. I warn you though, if it's on Instagram, I'm not going to see it because I don't open that app. If it's on Twitter, there's like a 50% chance I'll get a notification, or there's like a 50% chance I won't, in which case I'll only see it when I open the app, which could be like days. So, look, I say my DMs are open. I don't get notifications. My phone is like a little bit broken, and I really have been trying to fix it for about 2 months, and it drives me insane. I don't know why, but I just like most notifications just don't show up on my phone anymore. Unless you have me on Facebook, in which case hit me on Facebook, because I always see the messenger ones because they pop up on screen. It's a slightly different setup. Anyway, listen. Thank you guys for watching. So I currently have, no Twitter notifications. I haven't checked it yet today. Just out of curiosity, let's open Twitter and scroll through the... Okay, go on my notifications. Yeah, new tweet notifications for Tottenham Hotspur and Hotspur related. Okay, what have we got? Let's hit it with a refresh. 21 minutes ago, 1 hour ago, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 3 hours ago, 3 hours ago, and then 16 hours ago, so I saw that one. So what was that, like 5-6 tweets, and I didn't get notifications for any of them, any DMs since I last checked Twitter? Yeah, one from Maria. Sorry, Maria. No notifications for any of those things. Anyway, gonna wrap this up. Appreciate you all. Yeah, love yourself, because other people out there probably do, but also, look, okay, I'm gonna just keep talking forever if I don't stop right now. I appreciate you all. Later, guys. Bonk.